You have probably noticed there are two types of people in your audience. The lukewarm follower, she's watching, lurking, maybe engaging, but never really buying. And then there's the diehard client, the one who doesn't just buy, she counts down until your next launch. She jumps into just about every single offer and spreads the word like it is her mission. So what is the difference between the two and attracting either or? It's you. The way that you show up, the way you position yourself, the way you craft your brand to be so magnetic, so irresistible that people don't just want to buy from you, they need to buy from you. And that is exactly what we are diving into today. I am giving you in this episode the Diehard Buyer Converting Formula. The exact strategy to shift your audience from lukewarm to obsessed, from passive to passionate, and from bystanders to buyers. So if you feel as if your voice is not being heard, if you feel as if you have something powerful to give and to say, but you're not exactly how to give or say it, and if you feel as if you are meant to do and be more in terms of your business and brand, but you're not there yet, this episode is for you. Enjoy. Welcome to All In with Allie, the podcast for online business owners and entrepreneurs who are ready to create the life and business of their dreams. I am so happy you are here. So what is a lukewarm follower? Kind of gave a little bit of context in the intro, but let's give a little bit more, shall we? And we all have lukewarm followers, and we'll get into in just a second. It's okay if you are actually, like, if you're listening to this, you're like, I think I'm a lukewarm follower. That's probably a good thing. I think that's how we all start. We all start as lukewarm followers because it's good to have discernment. But then at some point you find your people, and that's fine. So we're all going to have a mix of lukewarm followers and hopefully diehard buyers. But our goal is to weed out the lukewarms so that they either go follow somebody else or they convert into a diehard client. So what is a lukewarm follower? A lukewarm follower is the type of follower who might engage with your content sometimes, maybe even a lot. Sometimes lukewarm followers can be really nice and engaging, but they rarely, if ever, buy. A lukewarm follower is also the type of follower who, she scoops up every freebie or low ticket offer that you and pretty much the rest of the internet has to offer. But again, rarely or never buys from you. Maybe she's buying from somebody else, but when it comes to you, she's keeping it pretty casual. And a lukewarm follower is also somebody who maybe she does buy on occasion, but she's also hopping around with all of your competition on the internet like an old internet hussy, okay? Like she's getting around, and we love that. We love that for her, but not necessarily for you or for me. So that is what I would consider a lukewarm follower. What is a diehard client? A diehard client is the type of client who knows she's going to buy, maybe even before she sees the price. She's one of those people that she's been in your world. She knows the value that you give, and you're her person. Like we have those brands, like a lot of people feel this way about Apple or Nike. They're so enamored and loyal to the brand that when there's something new that comes out, they already know they're going to get it. That is a diehard client. That's a diehard buyer. This is also the type of client who counts down into your next launch. They're very excited. They're ready for the next thing. They want to evolve with you in your world. This is the type of client who jumps in offer after offer, not necessarily because she needs it, but because it's you who's offering it. And this is also the type of client who advocates, promotes, and evangelizes on behalf of you and your business. She's a believer. Now, again, we all start kind of as lukewarm followers. That's fine. So not hating on anybody who is in a lukewarm phase. We're all probably in lukewarm phases, just with different people, and that's great. But for those of us running businesses, we really want to have a strategy in place that is designed to convert. Now, there is a method and a process for how you can do exactly that. There is a formula that you can actually use and apply step by step to convert a lukewarm follower into a diehard buyer. Thank God. So in this episode, I am giving you the whole formula because we give it all away here. And I'm going to explain it as much as I can. But this is one of those concepts that I do not want you just to hear and quote, know conceptually. This is so important. This is game-changing, business-shifting, expert pro level strategy. So I don't want you just to listen to this and nod your head, maybe take a couple of notes and half-ass apply half of the information. This is how much I believe in what I'm about to share with you. Why? Because I do it and it works. This is why I say things like buyers over likes, right? Like we don't need a ton of engagement. We don't even need a ton of followers. But when you have a good amount of diehard buyers and followers, and you know how to convert them, this is game changing for your business. This is what not only keeps you in business, but grows and evolves and eventually scales it too. So I want you to actually apply this and apply it well and fully and consistently, because if you do, you will go from invisible to iconic in your specific way. This is how you carve your corner out of the internet, what I'm about to share with you in this episode. And you will shift your lukewarm followers into diehard loyal buyers. This is the difference between basic, forgettable brands and what is known as a cult brand. Okay? So a cult brand is simply a product or service that fosters a strong, often passionate and loyal customer base, and it creates a sense of community and belonging that goes beyond typical brand loyalty. Okay, this is like the Apples of the world, the Glossiers of the world, the Nikes. You could probably think of some of them and some of your favorites. How they do it is what we're going to talk about in this episode. And for me, the work and effort that I put into my business and my career and the time and effort, it takes work, right? Like we're building something big here. Hopefully all of us feel that. I'm not doing it for my health. I'm building something that I love and it's fun and I happen to really enjoy it, and you probably do too. But this is a job. This is a business. So if I'm going to do it, number one, I'm going to do it all in, and I want to be among the best to ever do it. That's just my personality. And a byproduct of that is the creation of a cult brand. When you go into something, building a brand and business with that energy, that whole ass energy, and you know how to do it in this way. The byproduct of that is a cult brand. And for the women that I work with and the women that I support, and those of you listening to this podcast, I'm going to tell you, I refuse to let you move forward with basic brands that produce a bunch of lukewarm followers or buyers. Like, if you're listening to this podcast or you work with me, I want to be like, yes, I supported that. I want to point to your cult brand and be like, she's a listener of the show. Like, that's what I want us to be doing here. All of us. I don't want us to settle for basic and mediocre and average and status quo. If we're going to do it, let's do it. So again, I'm going to give you the cult brand Diehard Buyer Converting Formula. And I've also decided that I am going to host a challenge all around this too. This is how important this is. So that I can take you through this process and more, so that you don't just hear it, but you do it perfectly. So the Die Hard Client Attraction Challenge is enrolling right now. If you're listening to this live, it's happening in a week. And if you're listening to this in the future, there will be a way to somehow get a recording. So, just click the link in the show notes and you'll get all of that, depending on what you're listening. This is $10. I just want you to have a little skin in the game so that you show up. That's how important this is. We are going to go all in on this challenge. There's going to be merch. There's going to be daily action steps. There's going to be a community. You know how I feel about communities. I usually don't do them, but this is really important. So we're going to do a community. There's going to be fun. And more importantly, transformation will be taking place for you in only 5 days. I stand by that. So check that out. It's in the show notes, and I hope to see you there. Okay. The Diehard Buyer Converting Formula. Let's get it. So the first part of this formula and what we want to do is we want to cultivate what I am calling the cult brand mindset and identity. That is the first piece. That is the foundation. That is the North Star. That is the starting point that will send you off in the direction with the rest of the other steps. We have to have the mindset and the identity first. You are the leader of the ship. You're the boss. You are the person that's going to be creating the things, going to be creating the content, putting yourself out there, creating the transformations for people. Your offers are going to be gangster as hell, but first and foremost, people are going to be working with you. So if you're not for them, or they're not die hard for you yet, then they're never going to discover the brilliance of your offers, or maybe even your content. Maybe they're not even getting that far. So it starts with you. It starts with your mindset and your identity. We want to cultivate the self-image part of your leadership. That's what we want to do first. We want to get into your psyche and first and foremost, indoctrinate yourself. Part of creating a cult brand is indoctrination to bring people, on the journey with you and have a mission for where you're going and why. We want people to go from, again, followers to buyers, yes, but also believers in what it is that you stand for. We want to give people something to also believe in. But you first have to indoctrinate yourself. If you don't see yourself as a leader, if you don't see yourself as somebody who is capable and worthy of building a cult-worthy movement business, and don't get hung up with cult. I feel like I don't need to go into that with you. I feel like you get it. Don't get hung up on cult. It's just not literally cult. duh. But it's the vibe. It's like from the outside, it might appear to be one, right? People are like, what the hell is she doing? Like, what kind of Kool-Aid is she giving that they're all wearing the brand and quoting what she's saying and buying her stuff? And like, how is this a cult? That's what the haters say, because from the outside looking in, it's like, what the frick? How come I'm not invited to that party? And how the hell did she get all those people to want to be at her party? So if you don't believe you're capable of that or worthy, why the hell would I want to come along with you? And this is something, and I learned this the hard way for sure, because we see a lot of brands and we see a lot of women out there who are killing it. And I mean, do this like they were born to do it, because they understand what we're talking about here, but they also have that deep-rooted belief in themselves, in their mission, in their authority, and they allow that to radiate outside of them and infiltrate their brand and what it is that they do. So we see that and we're like, oh, I see what she's doing. I just need to do what she's doing. And we try and replicate the strategy and replicate, in some cases, some people actually like literally copy the content. And then we're like, why isn't that working for me? It's like, because you can slap pretty words on a piece of paper all day long. You can put together through ChatGPT the hottest, most juicy offer on the planet. We're all on the same playing, an even playing field there. But the secret sauce, the code that makes all of this work, is first and foremost you. It is your energetic signature strewn across everything that you create and put out into the world. So it starts with you, with your own self-image, with your own identity and your own mindset as a human, but also, of course, as it relates to your brand and your mission and your business. The second piece of this, when we are wanting to convert lukewarm into diehard buyers, is we then want to take that identity and that belief, and we want to cultivate what I'm calling our magnetic brand persona. So think of this like your brand archetype. There are several different brand archetypes, and we're going to get like all into this in the challenge, but it's actually really cool because when you understand the different archetypes and you see examples of each, like through brands that we all know, like Coca-Cola or Disney or again, Nike, Apple, these big brands, you see that they belong to a specific archetype. And with that archetype, there's certain value systems, there's certain tones. It's almost like a formula within itself based on the archetype. And you choose the archetype on, of course, like what you want to put out, but also your own personal values and your own personal beliefs and what is a fit. So anyway, we want to build a persona out of that. That's essentially your brand, right? Like what people see. It's a solid image, first of self as a leader, but then the brand surrounding it is also a match, not only to who you're here to serve, but also who you're here to attract. So we want to know that and put, obviously flaunt it and put it out there. And also, this is what makes your brand unique. This is how you're able to stand out. And brands can look similar. It's very easy to do that, especially on social media. There's only so many Canva templates out there, and mixtures of colors and whatever. But again, it's that energetic signature. But then also we're adding in the additional layer of the brand archetype, which is going to further help you understand, okay, What is the tone of my messaging? What are the values that I'm putting forth and that I'm standing for as a leader and as a brand as a whole? And then what are the offers that are, that make sense for what I'm here to do for my clients, and everything. It affects every single thing. So that next step is creating that magnetic brand persona that is attractive and desired for the diehard buyer that we are wanting to attract. The third part of this formula is the indoctrination part, the art of indoctrination, which is how to build a loyal following. So in the challenge, we're going to go through the brand obsession formula. And I'm going to give you some of that here. Some of it doesn't make sense to cover here because it's more action steps, and it just honestly wouldn't make sense to put here. And I don't want to waste your time, but this is some of it. So the brand obsession formula, this is how you begin to indoctrinate followers into, lukewarm followers into diehard followers, and then into diehard buyers. First is your messaging, magnetic messaging. How you do this is you get clear on your signature brand voice. What is that? That's going to look different for every single person. It's like a thumbprint. Everybody's going to have a different brand voice, and there is a way to get clear on what that is. Some of you listening, you're steps ahead of that part. I've said this for a long time, that I feel like some people naturally understand what their voice is. They have the very open throat chakra maybe, and they just have a deep level of confidence where the voice part isn't complicated. For me, this is something that's taken me years to figure out for myself, and also to feel comfortable with myself. And I'm still uncomfortable. I'm still trying to cover up that country accent. No, but this is something truly that still catches me up. And everybody's a little different with this, but that's a huge part of it. Because again, anybody with half a brain cell can create a quote unquote viral worthy post on Instagram now with the help of AI. It's the easiest thing to do now. You do it in 0.3 seconds. But why some people do that and it still falls flat is a couple of things for sure. But one being, it doesn't include that signature brand voice. It doesn't have their energetic signature. It has AI's or somebody else's, which is what AI is pulling from. And they don't have the rest of the elements that we're talking about here. So it falls flat. So by the way, anybody who is stressed about AI and is like, oh my gosh, look what we can create now. Like now we're all gonna, how is anybody gonna stand out where we're all able to make this level of content? It's not the same. It's not. Like, have you heard an AI song? It's not good. It'll continue to get better, but there's a difference between a song that's generated from a robot and a song that comes from somebody's actual human experience that has their energy and soul written all over it. That will never be duplicated by AI. So the first part of the brand obsession formula is magnetic messaging infused with your signature voice. The second part of the brand obsession formula is creating the signature aesthetic and further infusing your signature energy. So we all have a brand voice, a signature brand voice. We all have a signature energy. But unfortunately, we sometimes can accidentally stifle that energy or hide it or dim it because we're trying to be like somebody else, or we don't feel worthy, or I mean, there's a million reasons why sometimes we do this. So we want to figure out what that is. We want to fully own it. And then we want it to be represented in the aesthetic of our brand. So this does actually go so much further than a couple of Canva templates and choosing a cute brand aesthetic on Pinterest and then duplicating it as your own. That can be part of the process. But when you understand how to fuse it with you and who you actually are, also with the brand archetype that is a match for you and your mission and what you're trying to do, this is where we're getting good. This is where you go from that brand that nobody recognizes and it's like, I'll buy it when it's on sale, to the brand that people instantly recognize and people will only buy from, whether it's on sale or not. That's the brand. They have that diehard loyalty. And then the third part of the brand obsession formula, and this is still on the third part of the Diehard Buyer Converting Formula. We're going formula inside a formula. I go deep, y'all. Okay. I'm not playing around. If you've ever taken any of my stuff, I don't do fluff and I don't do surface. I'm an all-in girly. So sorry for the formula inside the formula, but it's necessary. And I'm giving it all away. But the third part of the brand obsession formula is the us versus them effect. This is where we're not scared to repel anymore, right? If you want to attract, the other side of that is repelling and being okay with that and standing firm in what you believe in and who you are and who you're not and what you are here to do. That is the us versus them effect. It's not that we're pitting ourselves against people, but it's that we're okay standing apart from groups if it means that we're being authentic and of integrity with ourselves and our brand. That is the us versus them effect. And then the last part of the formula for converting diehard buyers, the last part that I can share here anyway, is we want to sell like a cult brand without feeling salesy, which is actually, what is the word? That's actually not even, you can't sell like a cult brand and feel salesy. Like if you're doing it wrong, you'll feel salesy. But when you're selling like a cult brand, you realize you're not really, quote, selling at all. I mean, you are. But it's more of an invitation. It's more of an announcement. It's more of a celebration. This is the difference between push versus pull marketing. Push marketing is hardcore selling, down your throat, step by step, like we have to get this many numbers by this time. And if you're this person who wants this thing and and chasing after you and cold messaging and all the things. That is push, right? Shoving it down people's throats. Pull is, hey, guess what? I created a brand new challenge for you, and it is going to change your business and the people that you tracked into it. It's going to change the landscape of your sales. It's going to change your confidence within your business. It's going to change the engagement on your social media. That is what that looks like. It's confidence because you know your value. Your offers are intentional and created in such a way that they are addictive to your buyers. Okay? When you are able to do that and pair it with everything else that we shared here, and you have that deep-rooted confidence, there's no trying when it comes to selling. It just is. It's an announcement. It's a celebration. It is an invitation. And you have no mixed or weird feelings about it because you know that your diehard buyers are waiting with bated breath to hear what the next thing is that you have curated for them, because you know that you put out value and you know that you put out bangers, or at least that is the goal and intention. So that, my friends, is how you convert a lukewarm follower into a diehard buyer. When you follow the Diehard Buyer Converting Formula, you're going to notice something. You're going to notice that these lukewarms, they become less and less because you're so clear and you're so strong and potent that people don't have to really sit around. They either convert into that diehard buyer fast or they're out. And that's okay. You're going to have very little people on the fence. They're either all the way in or they're all the way out. And that, in my opinion, is how it is meant to be. Because if your attraction is so strong that it's polarizing, that means that you're really saying something. You've really planted your flag, so to speak, and found your voice and allowed it to be reflected within your brand. That is what converts a lukewarm to a diehard. You got to be willing to get a little culty. Okay? So again, we cover all of this in depth and more in the Die Hard Client Attraction Challenge. This challenge is for creators and entrepreneurs who are ready to step into their power and build a business that doesn't just blend in, but becomes iconic. All right, so the link to join us is below. I really hope to see you there, but either way, I will see you back here next week. Bye.